Learning about the shapes. Welcome back to the second lesson of Tinkercad. Now that you know how to move around the 3D plane, I would like to introduce you to the different shapes and manipulating their properties to get more than the basic shapes. Let us start with the basic red box. The first thing you will notice is that every shape you use got these black and white square handles and a black arrow on the top. Also, it will have that curved arrow from the top and sides. All of those helps to manipulate the shape. Let us see a few examples. Notice that if I go over the edge of the shape, I can continue to the other side and flip that shape. Now the curved arrow, those are for rotating the shape. If I hold the mouse outside the rotation circle, I can move at any angle that I want, but if I put the mouse cursor inside the circular ruler, I can make changes between presets setting of 22.5%. It's also a quick way to get to 90 degrees. Those handles work the same in every shape. Let us try a few more basic shapes. Now that we know how to change the basic shapes, let's look at every shape and its properties. When you get a new shape on the work plane, there is a drop-down menu, click it. Let us start with the box. Color and hole, you can choose for each shape if it's going to be used as a hole to cut something out like this. Or is it solid if it's solid? You can change the color to one of the presets, or create your own using the custom tab. You can also use transparent on any color or the multicolor option, which we'll explore more when we'll get to grouping shapes. Before we move on, I just want you to look at the Properties menu. I'll explain more about it when we'll get to grouping. For now, let's go back to the original box shape. Radius. The radius allows us to round up the corners. Steps will smooth or flatten those corners. Length, width, height is self-explanatory, so the combination of radius and steps will allow us to fillet the shape. Yes, fillet, but not the fleshy boneless of meat from an animal, but a concave strip of material roughly triangular in cross-section that rounds off an interior angle between two surfaces. Here are a few more examples of what you can do with a box in Tinkercad just by manipulating the properties. As I will go and explain each shape's properties, I will ignore the ones we already know like color and holes to speed things out. The cylinder. Cylinder got a bevel property which is very similar to the box radius, but in the cylinder case it only affects the top and bottom. The segments work just like the steps of the box, in the way it will add from 1 to 10 segments to smooth out the bevel. The sphere is self-explanatory. The more steps you got, the smooth it will be. The scribble. The scribble is very different from the other shapes, but once you press done, the scribbled shape is now in the 3D world and obey the same rules as the normal shapes. You can change its color, make a hole with it, or shrink it, but the most important part, you can edit it. Let's try to create an airplane wing using the scribble. Once I created the shape of the profile and press done. All I need to do is stretch it a little and duplicate it, and that's about it. The cone got a top and base radius that can be modified, and if combined with low numbers of sides can create a few new shapes like a trapezoidal prism, for example. I will leave you to explore all those options on your own. Text is a shape that allows you to add text to your design, and we'll teach you more about how to manipulate the text to make it more interesting later on in the course when we get to the part about grouping shapes. For now, pause the video and give it a try. I also recommend pausing the video every time we talk about a new shape or a tool and play with it for a bit. There are a few more shapes in the basic tool that doesn't have extra properties. Like the roof, wedge, half sphere, round roof, heart, yellow star, icosahedron, diamond, and dice. Just take the time and play with them. By now you should be able to change colors, resize, and rotate them, just like any other shapes we already learned about. Here is a mini challenge for you. Hold the shift and try to pull on the shape from one of the white square's handles. Then try the same when holding the Alt key. Pause the video and give it a try. Welcome back. Were you able to figure it out on your own? If not, it's not a problem, we can do it together. Let's take the round roof shape and pull on the top square while holding the shift key. As you can see, the whole shape gets bigger and smaller while keeping all of its ratios. Now let's do the same on any of the other handles. As long as you are holding shift, it will keep the ratios, but it will also keep the opposite handle in place. This time we'll hold the Alt and pull. The Alt key allows us to mirror or movement in the opposite direction while keeping the shape in the center. Before we move to the next shape, I want to introduce a new option called duplicate. You saw me use it once on that airplane wing that we made. The duplicate will save you time to drag and drop shapes on the work plane. To duplicate an object, select the shape you want to duplicate and press the Ctrl D to duplicate. Or the duplicate button from the menu. The polygon. Polygon can be modified from 3 to 12 sides, and can be a very flexible shape to work with. A mini challenge for you: make this simple house from the polygon. Use the duplicate skill you just learned, pause the video and give it a try. Welcome back. Hopefully, that wasn't much of a challenge for you by now. The important thing is to be able to see beyond the basic shape. So let me show you how I build it. As you can see, it all come down to one shape, the polygon. We'll talk more about how to build objects with one shape next. I will start by modifying 3 polygons into a cube triangular roof shape and 12-side chimney. I will duplicate the cube shape and make windows and door from it. It's that simple. The paraboloid shape, while its only property is the number of steps, it can still be very useful in many cases. Take for example this spaceship that has been created by manipulating that single shape. If you guessed paraboloid, you are 100% right. Let's break it down and see all the components. I'm challenging you to create your own paraboloid spaceship. I would love to see what you came out with. Please share. Let's combine two new shapes, the blue star and the tube, to create a cool looking jet engine. On the tube, I'm using the bevel to give it a new looking edge. And on the blue star I will add more points, and a smaller inner radius to give it that blade-like shape. Now I just need to duplicate it a few times, rotate it a bit, and that's about it. A simple jet engine. The last shape I'm going to talk about is the ring. I kept it for last because the ring got some really weird properties, but that's what makes it so great. Let's get a ring and reduce the number of sides to 4 and rotate it to 45 degrees, so it will be easier to understand what's going on. There are 4 square handles, each handle got 2 circular handles attached to it. As I move the right side handle, it's not only moving the right side of the ring but outside of it, and when I use the left side handle, it will change the inner side of the ring. The same goes for the top and bottom. Let me show you how it works. There is also snap to grid option that will snap your movement in the closes grid section, which will allow you more accuracy in controlling the movement. Those 2 circles attached to the squared handle will reshape the surface around that edge. With the ring shape, you can achieve a much more complex shape than manipulation of more basic shapes. That's the end of this session. On the next session we'll talk about how to group objects together. See you soon.